Since the dawn of time, humanity has looked to the stars, searching for answers, for meaning, for connection. But what if the truth we've been chasing isn't out there? What if the evidence has been sitting beneath our feet all along, buried in stone, carved into temple walls, and forgotten beneath centuries of dust? Across the ancient world, we keep discovering objects and structures that look too advanced, too modern, and sometimes too familiar. They defy explanation, yet they exist. These are 5 ancient discoveries that look like spaceships, artifacts so complex, so ahead of their time, that they might just rewrite everything we think we know about human history. In 1898, a small wooden object was uncovered in a tomb at Saqqara, Egypt. At first, archaeologists labeled it a bird, nothing unusual for ancient Egyptian tombs. But years later, modern engineers would look at it again and realize they were staring at something far more advanced. The bird had perfectly shaped aerodynamic wings, no legs, and a vertical tail fin, features never seen in nature. In the 1960s, an Egyptian aeronautical engineer named Khalil Messiha built a scale model, and it flew. Not only that, it glided smoothly, maintaining lift and balance almost like a modern glider. There's even an inscription nearby referring to the bird that does not eat. It wasn't an animal. It wasn't symbolic. It might have been a model, an ancient blueprint, of something the Egyptians once saw in their skies. Over 2,000 years before the Wright brothers, someone had already understood the laws of flight. And even now, the Saqqara bird sits quietly in the Cairo Museum, small, simple, and utterly impossible. Travel thousands of miles east, and you'll find ancient Sanskrit texts describing something far stranger, machines called Vimanas. These weren't myths about gods with wings or animals that flew. They were machines, mechanical flying craft, described with astonishing technical detail. In the Mahabharata and Vaimanika Shastra, these Vimanas are said to have used liquid mercury engines, flames that propel downward, and a metal that glows like the sun. One verse even mentions a weapon that produced the brightness of 1,000 suns and destroyed entire cities. Sound familiar? Some historians call it poetic exaggeration, but others, especially modern engineers, were shocked to find that certain passages describe flight dynamics, anti-gravity propulsion, and even aerodynamic drag. In 1979, the Indian Institute of Science studied the text. Their conclusion? The designs are based on advanced principles of aviation, though their feasibility cannot be confirmed. How could a 2,000-year-old text describe modern aeronautics? Maybe it wasn't imagination. Maybe ancient India was recording something they saw. Machines descending from the sky, technology they didn't create, but witnessed. And if so, who were the pilots? In the temple of Seti I, in Abydos, Egypt, a mysterious panel of carvings decorates the ceiling. Look closely, and you'll see shapes that shouldn't exist. The outline of a helicopter, a submarine, and what looks eerily like a modern fighter jet. These carvings date back over 3,000 years. Egyptologists claimed it was an illusion, a layering of eroded hieroglyphs that coincidentally formed those shapes. But that explanation doesn't quite hold up. Because when you isolate the images, the proportions are exact. Blades, cockpits, wings, fuselages, it's all there. And here's the kicker. These carvings aren't random. They appear alongside depictions of the gods descending from the heavens. Coincidence? Maybe. But how did a civilization that had never even seen a wheel fly so close to the sky in their imagination? Unless, of course, it wasn't imagination at all. Perhaps the pharaohs carved what they saw, and the gods they worshipped were passengers from somewhere beyond. In 1901, divers off the coast of Antikythera, Greece, found a corroded lump of bronze among an ancient shipwreck. When scientists examined it years later, X-rays revealed something no one expected: a machine. Inside were over 30 precision-cut bronze gears, interlocking, rotating, and perfectly engineered. It could predict eclipses, planetary movements, and lunar phases with accuracy rivaling 18th century clocks. It even had a differential gear system, an invention humanity supposedly didn't rediscover until over 1,500 years later. Some call it the world's first computer. But here's the mystery. No other device like it has ever been found from that era. Nothing even close. It's as if this technology appeared out of nowhere and then vanished completely. Did it come from a forgotten civilization? Or was it a gift, passed down from someone who understood the mechanics of the cosmos long before we did? Because the Antikythera Mechanism doesn't just resemble a machine, it is one. And even today, no one can explain how such knowledge existed, and then disappeared for millennia. Across the Peruvian desert, hundreds of massive geometric figures stretch across the sand. Perfectly straight lines, spirals, and animal shapes spanning kilometers. From the ground, they're invisible, but from the sky, they're unmistakable. The Nazca lines form an enormous network of what look like runways, flat, long, and perfectly aligned to cardinal directions. No ancient civilization could have seen them entirely from ground level, yet they carved them into the earth with surgical precision. Some scholars believe they were made for religious rituals, to honor gods of the sky. But the scale and accuracy suggest something else, a form of navigation, maybe even landing zones for something or someone descending from above. When pilots flew over the region for the first time in the 1920s, they were speechless. Even modern drones can barely map the lines with such precision. If they were offerings, they were built to be seen not by humans, but by something watching from the air. And that might be the most chilling part. Because the Nazca didn't just imagine the sky, they designed for it. In 1980, deep within the caves of La Mana, Ecuador, explorers found a metallic object shaped exactly like a modern jet. It had wings, a tail fin, and even a cockpit canopy, perfectly symmetrical, crafted from an aluminum alloy. The problem? Aluminum wasn't discovered until the 1800s. Yet this artifact, according to geological dating, was thousands of years old. Skeptics called it coincidence. But when engineers analyzed its shape, they found it aerodynamically sound. It could fly if scaled up. The object disappeared into private collections soon after, vanishing from public record. Whether it was a toy, a ritual symbol, or a piece of lost technology, one thing is certain. It challenges everything we know about the ancient world. Because if the people of La Mana really built this, then they weren't just looking at the sky. They were trying to return to it. In 1933, an Italian curator named Alberto Tulli claimed to have found an ancient Egyptian papyrus describing a circle of fire that appeared in the sky. The text said, "It was a circle of fire that rose higher in the sky. It had no head, no tail, and the heart of it was bright. It was witnessed by the pharaoh himself." The next day, more appeared. Circles of fire moved through the heavens, shining brighter than the sun. When scholars tried to verify the document years later, it had mysteriously disappeared. Only partial translations remain. Many dismiss it as rumor, but others recognize the description. Circular craft, bright lights, motionless flight. It matches modern UFO reports exactly. If it's real, this papyrus would be the oldest written record of a UFO encounter in human history. Maybe it vanished because it wasn't supposed to be found. Or maybe it was simply too familiar. Across time and continents, the same story repeats. Humans carving, writing, and building what they could never fully understand. Maybe they weren't trying to invent anything at all. Maybe they were trying to remember. These artifacts, wooden birds, stone lines, metal crafts, may not just be relics of ancient creativity. They might be fragments of a story far older than our civilization, a story where the skies were full, and the gods that came from above weren't gods at all.